set the world on fire. I'm a lost song of a fading in my I have a lonely desire.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Doomsday here. Another Monday, History 101. Hello, Damon Bard. Hello, Angie Williams. And hello to everybody else. Hi, Natalie. So, I know last Monday I didn't come on. I had family come over and everything like that, so it kind of delayed me from actually doing the show, but I'm back again, and today I'll be talking about Genghis Khan. Yes, that's right. Genghis Khan, the dude that destroyed Osman Sporting Goods. No, I'm just kidding. No, Genghis Khan, he was the great ruler of China, emperor of China. So, it says here, he's the first great Khan of the Mongol Empire. His reign was from spring 1206 to August 18th, 1227. He was born in Temujin, 1155. He died, and his death was August 18th, 1227. Where he died was in Yingchuan, Western Xia. All right, let's dive into this. So, his full name is Genghis Khan. His posthumous name is Emperor Fiatan Huayun Singwu. His temple name is Tiazu. Natalie says the Golden Horde. His home was in Bjorgigen. His dynasty was Genghis. Father was Yeshuige. Man, these Chinese names, man. And his mother's name was Holun. So Genghis Khan's religion was Tengrism. And he was the founder and the first great Khan, of course, as we know, which became the largest contiguous empire in history after his death. He came to power by uniting many of the nomadic tribes of the Northeast Asia. After founding the empire, being proclaimed Genghis Khan, meaning universal, oceanic, and firm, strong ruler and lord. He launched the Mongol invasion that conquered most of Eurasia, reaching as far as West Poland and the Levant in the Middle East. Campaigns initiated in his lifetime include those against Quara Kitai, Kwarmezia, and the Western Xia and Jin dynasties, and raids into medieval Georgia and the Kievan Rus and the Volga, Bulgaria. These campaigns were often accompanied by large-scale massacres of the civilian populations, especially in the Khwarezmian and the Western Xia controlled lands. Because of this brutality, which left millions dead, and he's considered by many to have been a brutal ruler, which yes, he was a brutal ruler. By the end of his life, the Mongol Empire occupied a substantial portion of the Central Asia and China due to his exceptional military success. Genghis Khan is often considered to be the greatest conqueror of all time. Before Genghis Khan died, he assigned Oged, Ogadai Khan as his successor. Later, his grandsons split his empire into khanates. Genghis Khan died in 1227 after defeating the Western Zaya. By his request, his body was buried in an unmarked grave somewhere in Mongolia. His descendants extend from the Mongol Empire across most of Eurasia by conquering or creating vassal states in all of modern-day China, Korea, Caucasus, Central Asia, and substantial portions of Eastern Europe and Southwest Asia. Many of these invasions repeated the earlier large-scale slaughters of local population. As a result, Genghis Khan and his empires have a fearsome reputation in local histories. Beyond military accomplishments, Genghis Khan also advanced the Mongol Empire in other ways. He decreed the adoption of the Uyghur script as the Mongol Empire's writing system. So Damon says Khan made the Roman Empire look weak. Oh, definitely made him look weak. Khan had no boundaries, man. That I swear that guy. According to history, I swear that guy's really that guy was really brutal. So let's get into more of Genghis Khan here. Miss D says, "Oh, cool history stuff here." Thank you, Miss D. All right, let me get here. Okay, so Genghis Khan was related on his father's side, Ka, Kabul Khan Am, Ambagai and Hotula Khan, who had headed the Kamag Mongol Confederation and were descendants of Baranchar Munkhang. When Jurgen Jin dynasty switched support from the Mongols to the Tartars in 1161, they destroyed Kublai Khan. Genghis Khan's father, Yeshwigi, leader of the Kiat Borjin clan and nephew of Ambigai and Hatula Khan, emerged as the head of ruling Mongol clan. So Damon says he was really intense, relentless warrior. Yeah, pretty much. Brutal, awesome. Yeah, that's Miss D, all right. So, okay, back here. This position was contested by the rival Taishui clan, as descended directly by Ambigai, and the Tartars grew powerful after 1161. Then Jin switched their support from Tartars to Karaites. Little is known about Genghis Khan's early life due to lack of contemporary written records. The few sources that give insight to his period often contradict. So Natalie says, kind of like Vlad Tepes. Many saw him as a hero, others saw him as a monster. Yeah, definitely. Genghis Khan's birth name, Temujin, was derived from the Mongol word Temur, meaning of iron, while Jin denotes agency. Temujin means thus blacksmith. Genghis Khan was probably born in 1162 in Delun Boldog, near the mountain of Burkhan Khaldun and the rivers of Onan and Kalirin in modern day northern Mongolia, close to the current capital Ulaanbaatar. The secret history of the Mongols reports that Temujin was born grasping a blood clot in his fist, traditional signs that he was destined to become a great leader. So Psycho Mantium says s'mores are the best. Eh. Oh, where was I now? Ah, he was the first son of Holyun, second wife of his father Yeshugi, who was in Kiad, chief prominent in the Kamag Mongol Confederation and ally of the Toghrul of the Karaite tribe. Temujin was the first son of his mother Holyun. According to the secret history, Temujin was named after the Tartar chief Temujin Ugi, whom his father had just captured. Yasuke clan was Borgian, and Holyum was the Kunhun sub-lineage of the Kongriad tribe. Like other tribes were nomads, Temujin's noble background made it easier for him to solicit help from and eventually consolidate the other Mongol tribes. His father arranged a marriage for him and delivered him at age 9 to the family of his future wife, Borte, of the tribe of Kongriad. Temujin was to live there serving the head of the household, Diestetsen, until the marriageable age of 12. So back then, the age of marriage was actually 12. While heading home, his father ran into neighboring Tartars who had long been Mongols' enemies, and they offered him food that poisoned him. Upon learning this, Temujin returned home to claim his father's position as chief. But the tribe refused this and abandoned the family, leaving it without protection. For the next several years, the family lived in poverty, surviving mostly on wild fruits, ox carcasses, marmots, and other small game killed by Temujin and his brothers. So now I can pretty much imagine why he was really ruthless. I mean, look what they did to him. They abandoned his family. Temujin's older half brother, Begtur, began to exercise power as the eldest male in the family and would eventually have the right to claim Holyun, who was not his own mother, as a wife. Temujin's resentment erupted during one hunting excursion when Temujin and his brother Kashar killed Begtur. In a raid around 1177, Temujin was captured by his father's former allies, and the Tai Chiud, and enslaved, reported with Kangui, a sort of portable stocks. With help from a sympathetic guard, he escaped from the Gur, or Yurt, whatever, at night by hiding in a river crevice. The escape earned Temujin's reputation. Soon, Jelme and Borachu joined forces with him. They and the guard's son Chuluan eventually became generals of Genghis Khan. At this time, none of the tribal confederations of Mongolia were united politically. and arranged marriages were often used to solidify temporary alliances. Temujin grew up observing through the political climate, which included tribal warfare, thievery and raids, corruption, and revenge between confederations, compounded by interference from abroad, such, such as from China to the south. Temujin's mother, Hulian, taught him many lessons, especially the need for strong alliances to ensure stability in Mongolia. He had conquered these women. Oh, wait. Did I skip something here? Hmm. Oh, it says, as was common for powerful Mongolian men, Genghis Khan had many wives and concubines. He frequently acquired wives and concubines from empires and societies that he had conquered. These women were often princesses or queens that were taken captive or gifted to him. Genghis Khan gave several of his high status wives their own ordos or camps to live in and manage. Each camp also contained junior wives, concubines, even children. It was the job of the Kenshin Mongol Imperial Guard to protect the yurts of Genghis Khan's wives. The guards had to pay particular attention to the individuals, yurts, and camp in which Genghis Khan slept, which could change every night as he visited different wives. When Genghis Khan set out on his military conquest, he usually took one wife with him and left the rest of his wives and concubines to manage the empire and in his absence. The marriage between Borte and Genghis Khan, then known as Temujin, was arranged by her father and Yesugi, Temujin's father, when she was 10 and he was 9 years old. Temujin stayed with her family until he was called back to take care of his mother and younger siblings due to poisoning of Yasuge by Tartar nomads. In 1178, about 7 years later, Temujin traveled downstream along to the Kelurin River to find Borte. When Borte's father saw Temujin had returned to marry Borte, he had the pair unite as man and wife. With the permission of her father, Temujin took Borte and her mother to live in his family yurt. Borte's dowry was a fine black sable jacket. Soon after the marriage between them took place, the three Merkits attacked their family camp at dawn and kidnapped Borte. She was given to one of their warriors as a spoil of war. Temujin was deeply distressed by the abduction of his wife and remarked that his bed was made empty and his breast was torn apart. Temujin rescued her Temujin rescued her several months later with the aid of his allies Wang Khan and Jamuka. Many scholars describe this event as one of the key crossroads in Temujin's life, which moved him along the paths towards becoming a conqueror. So yeah, he he went through a lot of stuff that screwed him up in the head quite a bit. Um, as they as the pillaging and the plundering went on, Temujin moved along among the people that were hurriedly escaping, calling Borte, and so he came upon her, for Lady Borte was among those fleeing people. She heard the voice of Temujin, and recognizing it, she got off the cart and came running towards him. Although it was still night, Lady Borte and Quo Akuin both recognized Temujin's reins and teeter and grabbed them. It was moonlight when he looked at them, recognized Lady Borte, and they fell into each other's arms. So, okay. Borte was held captive for 8 months and gave birth to Jo, Jokchi, Jochi soon after she was rescued. This left doubt to as who the father of the child was. Ooh. Because her captor took her as a wife and could have possibly impregnated her. Despite this, Temujin let Jochi remain in the family and claimed him as his own son. Borte had three more sons, Chagatai and Ogedi and Tolui. Temujin had many other children with other wives, but they were excluded from the succession. Only Borte's sons could be considered to be his heirs. Borte was also the mother to several daughters: Kua, Ujin, Becky, Bekai, Alakai, Bekai, Alatun, Chechikin, something I don't know, Timulion, and Tolai. Man, that's a lot of kids. However, the poor survival of Mongol records means it's unclear whether she gave birth to all of them. So we're getting into Yeshugin here. During his military campaign against the Tartars, Temujin fell in love with Yeshugin and took her in as a wife. Excuse me. She was daughter of a Tartar leader named Yeki Sheren that Temujin's army had killed during battle. After the military campaign against the Tartars was over, Yeshugin, one of the survivors, went to Temujin, who slept with her, according to secret history of the Mongols. While they were having sex, Yeshugin asked Temujin to treat her well and not to discard her. When Temujin seemed to agree with this, Yeshugin recommended that he also marry her sister, Yesway. Oh wow, that's one messed up family. I would hate to see what child support would be like. Trust me, I'm pretty sure Attorney General would be on that real fast. So, being loved by him, Yeshugin Kwatun said, "If it pleases the Kwaan, he will take care of me, regarding me as human being and person worth keeping. But my elder sister, who is called Yesui, is superior to me. She is indeed fit for a ruler." Excuse me. Both the Tartar sisters, Yeshugin and Yesui, became part of Temujin's principal wives and were given their own camps to manage. Temujin also took a third woman from the Tartars, an unknown concubine. At the recommendation of her sister Yeshugin, Temujin and his men tracked down and kidnapped Yesui. When she was brought to Temujin, he found her every bit as pleasing as promised, and so he married her. The other wives, mothers, sisters, and daughters of the Tartars had been parceled out and given to the Mongol men. Oh shit! Okay. The Tartar sisters, Yeshugin and Yesui, were two of Genghis Khan's most influential wives. Genghis Khan took Yesui with him when he set out on his final expedition against the Tanjut Empire. Kulian entered Mongol history when her father, the Merikit leader of Dayar Usan, surrendered to Temujin in the winter of 1203 or 1204 and gave her to him. But at least according to the secret history of the Mongols, Kulian and her father were detained by Nayaz, one of Temujin's officers, who was apparently trying to protect them from Mongol soldiers who were nearby. After they arrived 3 days later than expected, Temujin suspected that Naya was motivated by his carnal feelings towards Kulian to help her and her father. While Temujin was interrogating Naya, Kulian spoke up in his defense and invited Temujin to have sex with her and inspect her virginity personally, which pleased him. Oy. In the end, Temujin accepted Dair Usan's surrender and Kulian as his new wife. However, Dair Usan later retracted his surrender, but he and his subjects were eventually subdued, his possessions plundered, and himself killed. Temujin continued to carry out military campaigns against the Merakids until their final dispersal in 1218. Kulan was able to achieve meaningful status as one of Temujin's wives and managed one of the large wifely camps in which other wives, concubines, children, and animals lived. She gave birth to a son named Gilijan, who went on to participate with Bjorte's sons and their father's military campaigns. So, Moji Khatun was a concubine of Genghis Khan, as she later became a wife of his son Ogedai Khan. The Persian history Atamalik Juvani records that Moji Khatun was given to the Genghis Khan by chief of the Bactrian tribe, and he loved her very much. Ogedai favored her as well as she accompanied him on his hunting expeditions. She is not recorded as having any children. Jeru Drubesu was an empress of Quarakatai, Mongol Empire, and Namian. She was a renowned beauty on the plains. She was originally a favorite concubine of Inak Bilaj Khan, and after his death, she became the consort of his son Tayang Khan. Since Tayang Khan was a useless ruler, Jerubisu was in control of almost all power in the Namayan politics. She had a daughter named Princess Hunu, which Yelu Zilu, the ruler of Liao, after Genghis Khan destroyed the Namayan tribe, the Tayang Khan was killed. Jarubisul made several offensive remarks regarding Mongols, describing their clothes as dirty and smelly. Yet she abruptly rescinded her claims and visited Genghis Khan's tent alone. He questioned her about remarks but was immediately attracted to her beauty. After spending the night with him, Jarubisul promised to serve him well, and he took her as one of his empresses. Her status was only inferior to Kulyan and Bjorte. Now, Ibaqua was the eldest daughter of the Kiryat leader Jaka Gam- Gambuhu, who allied with Genghis Khan to defeat the Namians in 1204. As a part of the alliance, Ibaqua was given to Genghis Khan as a wife. She was the sister of Beg Begmumish, who married Genghis Khan's son Jochi and Sorgahayan. I don't know. I can't pronounce it. It's a weird Chinese name. I'm gonna skip it. But anyways, it's Sorghani. It's even hard to spell. Sorry, guys. But anyways, um, they were married to Genghis Khan's son Tolui. After about 2 years of childless marriage, Genghis Khan abruptly divorced Ibaka and gave her to General Jurchedai, a member of the Urut clan and who had killed Jaka Gambahu after the latter turned against Genghis Khan. The exact reasons for this remarriage is unknown according to the sacred history of the Mongols. Genghis Khan gave Ibaka to Jur, and that's that weird spelled name again, as a reward for his service in wounding Nilga Senjum in 1203 and later in killing Jaka. The weird name again. I'm going to call it the weird name, okay? Conversely, Rashid al-Din in Jami. Jesus, these names are weird, man. I can't spell. I can't pronounce them. Anyhow, they claim that Genghis Khan divorced Ibaka due to a nightmare in which God commanded him to give her away immediately, and that weird named guy happened to be guarding the tent. Regardless of the rationale, Genghis Khan allowed Ibaka to keep her title as Khatun even in her remarriage, and asked that she would leave him a token of her dowry by which he could remember her. The sources also agree that Ibaqua was quite wealthy. In early 12th century, the Central Asian plateau of North China was divided into several prominent tribal confederations, including the Nemian, Naimans, Marikits, Tartars, Kamag Mongols, and the Karatites. They were often unfriendly towards each other, as evidenced by random raids, revenge attacks, and plundering. David Bart says, "Too bad we couldn't just change the names to Star Wars characters, right? Be a lot easier." So, Temujin began as his ascent to power by offering himself as an ally, or, according to other sources, a vassal. Vessel. Is it vassal or vessel? Anyways, to his father's Anda, sworn brother or blood brother, Tolkrul, who was Khan of the Karatites and better known by the Chinese title Wang Khan. Why do I think that's so funny? Wang Khan. Wang. Which Jurchen Jin dynasty granted him in 1197. The relationship was first reinforced by Borte was captured by the Marikits Temujin turned to Torgul for support, and Torgul offered 20,000 of his Karatite warriors and suggested that Temujin involved his childhood friend Jamakuha. Hey, what's going on, Sierra? Who had himself become a Khan of his own tribe in the Jadarian. Excuse me. Although the campaign of Borte and utterly defeated the Merakites, it also paved the way for the split between Temujin and Jamakuha. Before this, they were blood brothers, Anda, vowing to remain eternally faithful. As Jamakuha and Temujin drifted apart in their friendships, each began consolidating power, and they became rivals. Jamuka supported the traditional Mongolian aristocracy, while Temujin followed the meritocratic method and affected the border range and lower class of followers. Following his earlier defeats of the Merakites and proclamation by the Saman Kokochu that the eternal blue sky had set aside the world for Temujin, Temujin began rising to power. In 1186, Temujin was elected Khan of the Mongols. Threatened by this rise, Jamuka attacked Temujin in 1187 with an army of 30,000 troops. Temujin gathered his followers to defend against the attack, but was decisively beaten in the Battle of Dalan Balzut. However, Jamuka horrified and alienated potential followers by boiling 70 young male captives alive in cauldrons. Whoo! Dang! 70 young males boiled alive in a cauldron. Wow. Togrul, as Temujin's patron, was exiled to Kitai. The life of Temujin for the next 10 years is unclear, as historical records are mostly silent on that period. So around the year 1197, the Jin initiated an attack against their former vassal, the Tartars, with help from Karatais and the Mongols. Temujin commanded part of this attack, and after victory, he and Torgul were restored by the Jin to positions of power. The Jin bestowed Torgul with the honorable title of Onkan, and Temujin with a lesser title of Zhuakwari. Okay, around 1200, the main rivals of the Mongol Confederation, traditionally the Mongols, were the Naimans to the west, the Merakites to the north, the Tanguts to the south, and the Jin to the east. In his rule and his conquest rival tribes, Temujin broke with Mongol tradition in a few crucial ways. He delegated authority based on merit and loyalty, rather than family ties. As an incentive for absolute obedience and the Yasa code of law, Temujin promised civilians and soldiers wealth from future war spoils. When he defeated rival tribes, he did not drive away their soldiers and abandon their civilians. Instead, he took the conquered tribe under his protection and integrated its members into his own tribe. He would even have his mother adopt orphans from the conquered tribe, bringing them into his family. Tom says, "Hey, brother, just popping in to say hi. Been dealing with a monster migrate." Oh, dude, I hope you feel better, Tom, man. Yeah, get some rest, brother. All right, back to what I was at. Sengum, son of Torgul Wang Khan, Wang, envied Genghis Khan's growing power and affinity with his father. He allegedly planned to assassinate Genghis Khan, although Torgul was allegedly saved on multiple occasions by Genghis Khan. He gave to his son and became uncooperative with Genghis Khan. Jeez, that's a way to, you know, screw somebody over after saving you for a whole bunch of times, and you give them the boot. Yeah, I wouldn't be too happy about that. Anyways, Genghis Khan learned that Segum's intentions and eventually defeated him and his loyalists. One of the later ruptures between Genghis Khan and Torgol was Torgol's refusal to give his daughter in marriage to Jochi, Genghis Khan's first son. This was disrespectful in Mongolian culture and led to war. Torgol allied with Jamuka, who already opposed Genghis Khan's forces. However, the dispute between Torgol and Jamuka, plus the desertion of a number of their allies to Genghis Khan, led to Torgol's defeat. Jamuka escaped during the conflict. This defeat was a catalyst for the fall and eventual dissolution of the Karatai tribe. After conquering his way steadily through the Alichi Tartars, Karatais and the Uzaz Merkites, and acquiring at least one wife each time, Temujin turned to the next threat on the steppe, the Turkic Naimans, under the leadership of Tiang Khan, with whom Jamuka and his followers took refuge. The Naimans did not surrender, although enough sectors again voluntarily sided with Genghis Khan. In 1201, the Kuruldai elected Jamuka as Gur Khan, universal ruler, a title by the rulers of the Kwaran Katang Kitai. Jamuka's assumption of the title was the final breach with Genghis Khan, and Jamuka formed coalition of tribes to oppose him. Before the conflict, several generals abandoned Jamuka, including Subutai Jelme, well-known younger brother. After several battles, Jamuka was turned over to Genghis Khan by his own men in 1206. Sheesh. According to secret history, Genghis Khan offered his friendship to Jamuka. Genghis Khan had killed the men who betrayed Jamuka, stating that he did not want disloyal men in his army. Jamuka refused the offer, saying there can only be one sun in the sky, and he asked for a noble death. The custom was to die without spilling blood, specifically by having one's back broken. Jamuka requested this from death, although he was known to have boiled his opponent's generals alive. Ooh, wow. The part of the Merkit clan and the that sided with the Naimans were defeated by Subutai, who was by then a member of Genghis Khan's personal guard and later became one of Genghis Khan's most successful commanders. The Naimans' defeat left Genghis Khan as the sole ruler of Mongol steppe. All the prominent confederations fell or united under his Mongol confederation. Accounts of Genghis Khan's life are marked by claims of series of betrayals and conspiracies. These include rifts with his early allies such as Jamuka, who wanted to be the ruler of Mongol tribes, and Wang Khan and his father's ally, his son Jochi, and problems with the most important shaman who allegedly tried to drive a wedge between him and loyal brother Kassar. His military strategy showed a deep interest in gathering intelligence and in understanding the motivations of his rivals, exemplified by his extensive spy work and Yam route systems. He seemed to be a quick student, adopting new technologies and ideas that he encountered, such as siege warfare from the Chinese. He was also ruthless, demonstrated by his tactic of measuring against the linchpin used against the tribes led by Jamuka. As a result, by 1206, Genghis Khan managed to unite or subdue the Merkits, Naimans, Mongols, Karatites, Tartars, Ungars, and the other desperate smaller tribes under his rule. This was a monumental feat. It resulted in peace between previously warring tribes and a single political and military force. The union became known as the Mongols. At Kurultai, a council of Mongol chiefs, Genghis Khan was acknowledged as Khan of the consolidated tribes and took the new title Genghis Khan. The title Khagan was conferred posthumously by his son and successor Ogadai, who took the title for himself, as he was also to be posthumously declared the founder of the Yuan dynasty. According to Secret History of Mongols, the chieftains of the conquered tribes pledged to Genghis Khan by proclaiming, "We will make you Khan. You shall ride at our head against our foes. We will throw ourselves like lightning on your enemies. We will bring you their finest women and girls, their rich tent-like places." So now we get into, I guess, what is Genghis Khan's religion. Genghis Khan was a Tengrist, but was religiously tolerant and interested in learning philosophical and moral lessons from other religions. He's consulted Buddhist monks, including the Zen monk Hayun, Muslims, Christian missionaries, and the Taoist monks Qiu Chiu. According to the Fozu Lidai Tongzai, written in Nian Chang, Genghis Khan's viceroy Mukwai was pacifying Shanxi in 1219, the homeland of Zen Buddhist monk Hayun. When one of Mukwai's Chinese generals, impressed with Hayun's and his master Zongguan's demeanor, recommended to Mulwai. Mulwai then reported on the two to Genghis Khan, who issued the following decree on their behalf: "They truly are men who pray to heaven. I should like to support them with clothes and food and make them chiefs. I'm planning on gathering many of this kinds of people. While praying to heaven, they should not have difficulties imposed on them. To forbid any mistreatment, they will be authorized to act as Darkwan." Genghis Khan had already met Hayun in 1214 and been impressed by his reply, refusing to grow his hair in the Mongol hairstyle and allowed him to keep his head shaven. After death of his master Zongguan in 1220, Hayun became the head of the Chan, Chinese Zen. school during Genghis Khan's rule and was repeatedly recognized as the chief monk in Chinese Buddhism. By subsequent Khans until 1257, when he was succeeded as chief monk by another Chan master, Zwing Fu, the Mongol appointed abbot of Shaolin Monastery. Genghis Khan summoned and met the Taoist master Kui Chu in Afghanistan in 1222. He thanked Kui Chu for accepting his invitation and asked if Kui Chu had bought the medicine from immortality with him. Kui Chu then said there was no such thing as a medicine of immortality, but that the life can be extended through the abstinence. Genghis Khan appreciated his honest reply, and Kui Chu, who it is that calls him eternally heavenly man, he himself or others, after Kui Chu replied that the others call him by that name, Genghis Khan decreed that from thenforth Kui Chu should be called immortal, and appointed him master of all monks in China. Noting that heaven had sent Kui Chu to him, Kui Chu died in Beijing the same year as Genghis Khan, and his shrine became the White Cloud Temple. Following Khans continued appointing Taoist masters of the Quanzian school at the White Cloud Temple. The Taoists lost their privileges in 1258 after the great debate organized by Genghis Khan's grandson, Mongek Khan, when Chinese Buddhists led the Mongols appointed abbot or Silom Xingliao of Shaolin Monastery. Confucians and Tibetan Buddhists allied against the Taoists. Kublai Khan was appointed to preside over this debate in Xanadu. Hey, that's a song. The third meeting after two debates in Karakorum in 1255 and 1256, in which 700 dignitaries were present. Kublai Khan had already met Hyun in 1242 and been swayed toward Buddhism. Genghis Khan's decree exempting Taoist Psychomantium 13 says, Khan! Buddhists, Taoists, Christians, and Muslims from tax duties were continued by his successors until the end of the Yuan dynasty in 1368. All the decrees used in the same formula and state that Genghis Khan first gave the decree of exemption. Kublai Khan's 1261 decree in Mongolian appointing the elder of the Shaolin Monastery uses the same formula and states, and it states it in Chinese, so I'm not going to even attempt to read that. But it says here, according to decree of Genghis Khan, which says, may the Buddhist, Christians, Taoists, Muslims be exempt from all taxation, and may they pray to God and continue offering us blessings. I have given this decree to Shaolin elder to carry it. According to Giuliani, Genghis Khan allowed religious freedom to Muslims during his conquest of Khwarezmia, permitting recitation of the Takbir and the Azan. However, Rashid al-Din states that there were occasions when Genghis Khan forbade halal butchering. Kublai Khan received the decree in 1280 after Muslims refused to eat at a banquet. He forbade halal butchering in circumcision. The decree of Kublai Khan was revoked after a decade. Genghis Khan met Wahid-ud-Din in Afghanistan in 1221 and asked him if the Prophet Muhammad predicted a Mongol conqueror. He was initially pleased with Wahid Uddin, but then dismissed him for his service, saying, I used to consider you a wise and prudent man, but from the speech of yours, it has become evident to me that you do not possess complete understanding, that your comprehension is but small. Huh. Okay. Okay, Western Zaya Dynasty. Oh, how long have I been on here for? Ooh. Okay, I still got enough time. So we're gonna get into the Western Zion Dynasty, and I think that's where I'm gonna cut it off at because I've been talking for a lot. Been rambling for an hour about Genghis Khan. I know I was gonna promise you guys Joan of Arc, but hey, there's other shows that got to go on, so maybe for another time, okay? But anyways, let's get into the Western Zaya Dynasty. During 1206, political rise of Genghis Khan and the Mongol Empire created by Genghis Khan and his allies shared its western borders with the Western Zaya Dynasty and the Tanguts. Yes, I know it's a big subject, and yes, I know that's why I chose it, because I love these big subjects. To the east and south was the Jin dynasty, founded by the Manuchara. I'm gonna just call him Maruchan because it sounds like Maruchan. Maruchan Jurin, who ruled northern China as well as being traditional overlords of the Mongolian tribes for centuries. Genghis Khan organized his people, army, and state to first prepare for war with Western Zia or Zaya, which was close to the Mongolian lands. He correctly believed that the more powerful young ruler of Jin dynasty would not come to the aid of Zaya. When Tanguts requested help from the Jin dynasty, they were refused. Despite initial difficulties in capturing its well-defended cities, Genghis Khan managed to force the emperor of Zaya to submit to the vessel. Now, there's a couple of dynasties, like the Jin dynasty, it says here. In 1211, after the conquest of Zaya, Genghis Khan planned to again conquer the Jin dynasty. Wayan Jijuin, the field commander of the Jin army, made a tactical mistake in not attacking the Mongols at the first opportunity. Instead, the Jin commander sent a messenger, Mingnan, to the Mongol side, who defected and told the Mongols that the Jin army was on the other side of the pass. At the engagement fought at Yeluing, the Mongols massacred hundreds of thousands of Jin troops. In 1215, Genghis besieged, captured, and sacked the Jin capital of Zhongdu, which is modern-day Beijing. This forced the Jin ruler, Emperor Zhuangzong, to move his capital to Kafying, abandoning the northern half of his empire to the Mongols. Between 1232 and 1233, Kafying fell to the Mongols under the reign of Genghis' third son, Ogadai Khan. The Jin dynasty collapsed in 1234 after the siege of Saizu. Now, here we go with the Quara Kitai, and this is going to be the absolute last thing I'm going to read here because it's been a while. So, Kuklung, the deposed Khan of the Namian Confederation that Temujin defeated and folded into his Mongol Empire, fled west and oppressed the Khanate of the Quara Kitai, also known as the Western Liao, as it was originally established as remnants of the Lao dynasty. Genghis Khan decided to conquer the Quarakatai and defeat Kulung, possibly to take him out of power. By this time, the Mongol army was exhausted from 10 years of continuous campaigning in China against the Western Xia and the Jin dynasty. Therefore, Genghis sent only two men, 20,000 soldiers against Kuklung under his younger general Jebe, known as the Arrow. With such a small force, invading Mongols were forced to change the strategies and resort to inciting internal revolt amongst Kuklung's supporters, leaving the Quarta Kitai more vulnerable to Mongol conquest. As a result, the Kuklung's army was defeated by west of Kazgar. Kuklung fled again, but was soon hunted down by Jebe's army and executed. By 1218, as a result of defeat of the Quarakatai, the Mongol Empire and its control extended as far west as Lake Balkhash, which bordered Khwarezmia, a Muslim state that reached the Caspian Sea to the west and Persian Gulf and the Arabian Sea to the south. All right, my friends, that's enough for me. It's enough History 101. Don't forget to go follow and like Psycho Bunny Death Cult, Psycho Bunny DC, Psycho Man Kim 13. Don't forget to go like and follow This Is Tom's World. Don't forget to go like and follow Cemetery Joe. Like and follow the Sinister Sisters. Like and follow Stray Hairs. Like and follow WLFEDB Radio. Who else am I missing? Go like and follow Odd Mother. Go like and follow Squeaks. Like and follow my homie Chaos. Go like and follow. He just advanced. You know that, right? Go like and follow Roots Bleed Red. Yes. And also go follow me, Doomsday Aubrey TM. That's my page if you want to, interact with that. But it was a great show. Thank you for tuning in. And I will see you next Monday, hopefully. Bye.
Coming to you live from Psycho Mantium 13. Join us here throughout the week for all things in audio, visual, and literary content. You can also find us on the World Wide Web at psychomantium13.com. Join Psychomantium 13 and enter the weird.